There it is.
You good?
Yep.
All right. Welcome to our policy committee meeting. It's November 1st. We have all of our board members here, Tim, Margie, myself, and Frank. Paige was unable to make it today. So I guess before we get started, I just wanted to thank everyone. We did a lot of work before our meeting. So,
Not as much as you did.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
so I think we might maybe have hopes of getting through these because of all the extra work I did. So thank you very much. All right. Do you want to just start with 100 and work our way through, or do you think we'll have a different way we'd like to approach these? Okay.
We're going to start with the draft.
So
Perfect.
if we go into the 100 folder and open the draft.
So I have all of these open on my computer already.
When you say draft, you mean the one that says NISBA sample?
It says no. It actually says draft. Go back.
Draft NISBA sample. It ends July 2023.
And I'm going to change it from NISBA sample to draft.
Yeah. I didn't worry about making.
Nope,
anything.
I'll do that right now. So that way we just know that it's no longer going to be a NISBA sample and we're going from there. And I'm going to do comment.
I think the one I had opened up was the one that you want to get to.
Yeah.
Find out.
Are you in the school Gmail? I feel like this is your own yard.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's it. Okay, there's one, right?
Yeah, but you want to take draft.
This one.
Yeah. So you didn't get.
Okay.
Okay, you know where to get it now. Okay. All right. All right. So for anyone listening or rewatching this meeting, all the policies we're dealing with today are just updates of laws, regulation changes, and ours are a little outdated. So we're literally doing a bunch of NISBA iterations all at once. So got a little bit confusing, but I think we have all the latest NISBAs. Yeah, we're starting. Okay. So if everyone's already read all these, why don't we just scroll to the comments? And I guess after we're done, maybe.
I'm thinking I made comments on other policies, so.
At the very end, maybe once we're done, Jess could make them all pretty, so we don't do that
Yep.
today. Okay. All right, so when we get down to notification section, I have a
So I'll just clarify what I did. If I changed anything that was substantive or like more than like a word here or there, I highlighted it or put it in comments. If it was like grammar missing a word, we just fixed it. I just fixed it.
Thank you for doing that. All right, we had talked about this a little bit at our last meeting about how we're gonna deal with annual notifications. And I think I was just making sure we were all set with that. I know you forwarded the annual notifications to our social media or our website person?
Yep.
Is that what our plan is going to be?
Let's confirm it one more time. So, because I want to make sure that we do it for the future, right?
Yeah.
So our goal is take all of our annual notifications, create one document, and then have that uploaded each year. That's what we talked about. So
Yeah, but are we still gonna do like sending it around? Send out the form and the packet that comes home over the summer for people to certify that they've reviewed them
yes.
for the ones that
Yep.
require it.
So the annual notifications we're just add it to the code of conduct as a listing with a quick link.
Yeah, I think a QR code that brings you right to the page would be great because nobody's typing those
Links.
links.
Right.
Right.
It's a piece of paper, it's not. Or they can just click it. And I had also said we have to have the same language in 9140.1, but that was before I realized we had a new 9140.1, so we don't have to worry about my comment there. Because our draft changed from the draft I was using when I wrote that.
So if we're good with that, can we go up, if there's one title we could fill in on page 2? The district's blank is responsible for considering the following. I think this is accessibility related. I can't remember what we did on the last one that mentioned accessibility.
I'm sorry, I'm just doing one thing really quick, and you guys can talk about that right now.
Where are we?
Yeah, you guys talk about that, and let me do this quick, because I need to address something, so I make sure that we always have it.
Yeah, it says-
You can also over here.
Your.
It's fine. This is just my homepage. It's nothing, and it's only you can see it. It's not. So what I'm doing, so you know what I'm doing here is I'm creating a policy to-do list for myself that goes on my homepage. I will share it with you, Trisha, if you want, and anyone else who wants to, but it's the thing that we say, this must get done. Then I'll have it as a document that I can always go to, because I feel like we talk about these things and then we write them other places, and I feel like I easily forget them. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah.
And I just got,
Walk away from this being very clear on what we decided, and then
so,
I sit back down.
well, that's kind of where I'm at. So if you look, I'm doing a policy to do, I'm writing 11.1 on it. And then anything with an exclamation point will be like something that it must get done. So,
So I'm gonna make a suggestion. We're creating lots of text. And it's gonna be on file for people to refer to as needed.
Mhm.
If there's things that we are intending to have somebody read, they're always sending it out, and we want them to be aware of it. Not an encyclopedia, sorry, where they're going to look it up. It's we're communicating with
Yep.
you. I really think we gotta really simplify this as much as possible, because if you inundate the reader, I'm worried that we're about to, that they're not gonna read it.
Right.
So communications have not been completed if we don't do this well. So I don't know if it's through some sort of a summary or an index.
well,
or-
that's how I feel. I agree with you,
Something.
Tim. Because all these annual notifications, they're like 5-page policies. No one's going to read 7 5-page policies. I feel like NISBA has this in the code of conduct as a reference. I feel like that's where it already is. Am I wrong in saying that they reference these policies? Right?
Yes.
And I'm wondering if that qualifies as
So
the annual notification.
in the sexual harassment policy, there's something about communication that basically gives us the district the authority to kind of like communicate through like a poster or some public
Yeah.
channel. So we can distill this down in a communication medium that makes it more digestible. And
Put your stuff in the shoes.
Yeah,
of
no,
readers,
I
because
agree.
will tell you, this
Yeah.
stuff coming at this sort of, I'm not getting it.
yeah,
I'm
there's a lot.
opening up the
It's
wrong
dense.
document. I mean, this is,
It's
it's
dense. Yeah.
ridiculous, the amount of stuff that's floating around out here. And I really do believe that we need to condense this down to, here are the things that you should read prior to the school start, prior to the school year or something like that.
And I also just wrote, have attorney develop a summary of the annual policy notifications to add to the code of conduct, or like a memo. So that way we're great and we can do it and I can do it, but like having the attorney make sure that we're vetting it, make sure that we're also in compliance probably isn't a bad idea. How do you feel about that?
Okay, so we're on page 2, we're gonna do the title.
All right, going back, sorry.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I just click off that comment since we went through it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're still connected, right?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
So who is responsible for updating the district website? Who is that person?
Yeah. Exactly. And we addressed this in our last meeting with, I can try and look at it. It's 115, I think. go back, to what we looked at in our last meeting. I thought it was in 115, but it's not.
I think we had started at one point to do 100. And I remember you
Oh.
asking Frank, do we have all these things covered? And Frank said, yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
you're
I
right.
think that's what
Yeah.
the conversation was.
All right, so then we just need to decide.
Communications officer.
Do you
Or
take out
communicate.
the annotation? Notes from this,
Yeah.
Yeah, Jessica's gonna do all that.
Jess can make everything.
it's all that.
Yeah,
she'll take- yeah.
we typically do it here, but it's just easier if we have her do it. It'll save us time.
Mhm.
So the district's communication specialist is responsible for considering the following when developing or updating our district website.
So that's the time.
Yeah. And we do all of this. I mean, that's what NARIC does for us and BOCES does it. So yeah. Catalog spelled right. I'm sorry. They spell it CATALOUGUES.
Yeah, it is. I noticed that it was highlighted too. I think it can be with ES as well.
Okay, because it just keeps on coming up with that.
I think it's
It's weird.
So are you inserting the proper title?
Yep, I did.
My other comment, obviously, I was my 100E versus 100R, which we're getting through today, so I'm just gonna remove that now that I understand it better.
Oh, that was good, Tricia, that you remembered that.
Yeah, so remember one meeting we were talking about, where did we have that list?
Yeah, that was actually pretty good.
It was in policy, I found it. We remember we created that list,
yeah.
so people could, the students could look and see everywhere. They could-
That's good though.
That was fully, we don't have to make any changes, I just want to make sure. So yeah, I guess the rest of my comments have been.
It's a good reminder.
Okay. That sounds good.
All right, so I'm gonna write
Just need to
final.
be cleaned up.
Mhm.
So can I ask a question? The NISBA sample policy 0.
Hmm.
What was that?
That's this.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I had some questions
Okay,
that I
go
put
ahead.
on that one.
Okay, let's go through them now.
All right, so I don't know if I'm in the right, it looks like, I don't know if these are the same.
Yes, they're exactly. the
So
same.
this
Yep.
one, this fourth paragraph down starts with the word additionally.
Mhm.
To promote the district's website, accessibility to staff, students, and members of the community with disabilities, blah, blah, blah. Do we do that now?
Yes.
There's a whole lot of technical stuff.
And
Mhm.
when we switched over the website over the past 2 years, we made it a priority and a goal for the district to become fully accessible.
Yeah.
And we have.
Okay. That was my first question. There was below that, there's a paragraph that starts with nothing in this policy would be construed to prohibit denial or admission into or exclusion from a course of instruction or activity based on a person's gender. My question was, does this include athletic team?
Yes. We already do that.
Okay, so have we had that issue to come up at all?
We have a child who is a female playing football.
Well, that I understand. But I'm saying if somebody, let's say, identifies with the gender that they were not, that was different from what they were born.
We had a student who identified with a different gender swim for us.
We're okay. with that.
Yep.
So I need to know.
Yeah, we had that. I believe it was last year.
That's all I have.
And as we continue on, we'll verify this, but we currently have a policy 100R and 100E, which we'll have to rescind if we adopt what we're about to work on next. So I'll just put that in my notes.
And we'll go back to that later. I wrote for a final for Jessica to clean up and take out the NISBA items, and then I'll write the rescind afterwards. So,
Okay, so policy 9140.1 was referred to in this, so shall we just jump to that? Sure, next. And as I was reviewing it just before the meeting, I realized in Voorheesville, we also have an 9140.1R.
so do you want me to write that down that we're supposed to rescind 100.R and 100.E?
100-R and 100-.
And do you want this for the next?
We're heading that
Yeah.
direction. We haven't really.
Okay,
gotten
all
there.
right.
Depends on if we continue along with NISBA's recommendation.
Yep, I'm just gonna get it ready. Perfect.
Okay, so in the power, the older 9140.1, they have a bit opens the draft.
Draft.
Donna?
And this is NISBA's draft policy and regulation. So why don't we just go through people's, is this where you make comments too, Sam? or is it-
Probably on the other one, it's an
The other,
example.
okay.
Yeah.
The one that says sample is exactly the same. I just renamed all the
Oh.
drafts, so we'd all be on the same place.
Oh,
making
okay.
comments. So for the future, we'll all just try and make comments on drafts, and if
Draft.
someone's at
All
it,
right. That's
yeah.
good. That's good.
So really, this is just to cover anything that's not covered by 100, 110, 115.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Okay.
I suggested changing reprisal to retaliation. Worked for me. Just because we use retaliation.
I didn't do it.
Other places, but we use reprisal and else.
And then I just had the question, it says this policy and regulation shall be filed with the district clerk and the state civil service commission within 15 days of adoption and no amending it. I think we're just making revisions, but I just wanted to check with you. Or do we,
That's a Jessica question, I think.
yeah, is this something we need to do?
Let's do.
Yes. It'd be easy enough to do, right? Don't you say?
That makes sense. We're supposed to do it.
It's 9140.1, right?
9140.1,
Okay.
and the R that goes with it, that we're gonna get to in a second.
So we're gonna update the cross references. So maybe go in the direction we're thinking.
Oh, correct. Surprised they didn't have that. Oh, I guess they probably realized this before. Because we're so out of date. Well, I guess we could cross-reference 110 when we get there. That's the intro.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, because it's all, you don't have to
Yeah,
cross-reference
so then
for
it's
it.
110.1.2, which I guess is kind of. But if you prefer, it's easy enough to do both. It all here is. That's some foreshadowing of what's to come.
I think we can cover it by the intro. Because the cross references to the intro are the point one, point two.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
You also.
Yep.
That's one too. Okay, let's scroll down to the right. Now, Frank, I have no idea, but honestly, you must, I'm assuming this is our process and procedure currently. Or do we have to make sure we,
I'm gonna triple check.
okay. Now that if this is gonna be our policy, I guess we should.
You know what I didn't do is check it against the contract. Just gonna do that very quickly.
It's grievance, not a word. It's written under it.
Just like it.
It's a word.
Maybe Google hasn't caught up.
Don't allow it.
Google doesn't go back that far.
Oh, so in the reg, I did have,
I like your idea.
Yeah, that's just a,
Mhm.
you gotta have something
Right.
in case. This step. Which step are you referring to? Page 2?
step 2, yeah. Maybe we should spell that out, right? So,
Oh,
where we are.
slightly different in the contract in comparison to here.
So if it's in the contract controls.
Correct.
If it's not in there, then
So both contracts have grievance procedures.
Okay.
And there's level ones, level twos, level threes. So for example, what I'm looking at right now is the UEV's grievance procedure. And there's a submission of a grievance procedure, the arbitrator decision, binding arbitration. That's all in here. So,
So
this
this
is for unrepresented.
exactly.
Okay.
The group of people.
so yeah, there are a few
covered by
people who don't
contract.
cover by contract. So
And would these terms work? for you?
That'd be fine.
Clarify.
It is.
Yeah.
Up above.
No.
yeah, I'm fine with that. It actually is longer
Okay.
than the timeframes that we have built into the contracts. I'm fine with it.
All right, so I guess that just brings us to RG's comment.
Oh.
she had there.
They just get rid of it by accident.
That's okay, I can
Okay.
just speak to it. So if the superintendent of schools is the subject of the grievance, then I think we either I think we should just say specifically that if the superintendent is the subject of the grievance, then you skip stage 2 and go right to stage 3. It still provides the 2 required levels. Or you can, have,
So all you have to do it looks like in that, stage 2. Well, that's when his work is done. When a request for review by the board has been made, you have to just justify or indicate when that might occur. So you just say in stage 3, you just say, if the subject of or is the board going to be asked to review even other grievances?
it could, if it goes to step 1, 2, if we could end up with a step 3, which would be to the board.
Hmm. Do we want that?
I think we have to have the 3rd level in there in the event that the superintendent of schools is the subject of the grievance.
But that's not what this is written to do, right? This is for any grievance could find its way to the board.
Could go through all 3
I'm
steps.
questioning whether or not we really want that to happen. Number one, I understand what you said, if the subject of the grievance, it's a superintendent, or he has a grievance,
Right, which could
which could
happen.
happen, then,
Well, would my grievance go to the board?
well, I don't know.
And wouldn't my grievance
I think it
also,
would, yeah, it would.
That's a good question.
And you would fall into the unrepresented,
well, but it outlines in my contract.
right? You have it in your contract, okay. So I think one way to solve the issue I was raising was in paragraph 3 at stage 1. If the grievant is not satisfied with the finding of the supervisor,
Well-
proposed resolution.
Can I just, the grievance is regarding work rules. Right? So I actually don't do any work rules as superintendent. That's all done by other supervisors. So any contractual obligations or anything like that is all done by other individuals. Like I don't,
But what about like for your direct reports who are unrepresented?
they are represented.
All of your direct reports?
Except
are
for Jim.
represented?
Jim's unrepresented. He's the only one that's not. All my other ones are all represented by other individuals.
So let's walk through this.
They're all either Sainies or NICEN.
So if they are, then this is really just letting us know what the stages are. Supervisor handles it.
Mhm.
Person who's agreement, not satisfied. They want to take it to another level.
Mhm.
What's the next level?
So Sainies would be me. Like let's say the admin,
Yeah.
they would grieve me. They would bring it to the superintendent. If that doesn't work, then then they have a grievance procedure in their contract. If they're not in the contract and represented, then it would follow this.
I'm not sure this thing is doing it for us. Because this just says the first step stage to the supervisor.
Yeah.
So let's say a principal.
Yeah.
And the principal says no, and I want yes. Where do I go next?
If you're not
I'm the agreement.
as part of the contract, then it would go to me.
Okay, so that is what this says.
Yep.
Okay.
But if the principal isn't liking it, then they would file a grievance.
No,
and that
no,
would-
but I'm just saying.
'Cause I'm their
let's say
direct
it's a fifth grade teacher who has a grievance.
They're in a contract.
Their go contract. It goes building principal.
They don't use it. Okay, so now it's a secretary.
Well, let's say it's somebody who's not in union.
Right.
They decided not to be a
Management
part of it.
confidential.
Nope. Someone who says that I'm not going to be a part of the union any longer. I'm not going to pay dues.
All right.
Right. Let's use those because I think that would probably be the easiest one to do.
Okay.
They say they're not going to do it. They would have to follow this.
So it's a handful of people,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a very small amount of people.
but are the stages right? It would go to supervisor, superintendent,
Mhm.
board.
Yep. That's it's binding. It would be an arbitrator otherwise, but yeah.
I think the only time it could come up, right, would be if Jim was grieving some work rule that you didn't impose.
Right.
And then it would,
He would go to me. We would try to have a compromise. And then if it didn't work, it would have to
it
go to
would
you.
have to go.
Well, he has some supervisory responsibility. He has some direct reports himself.
He does. Yes.
Okay, so they are also management confidential types.
Yep.
So they would apply, that would apply.
They would go to Jim. If it doesn't work, they would go to me. Then it would go to the board. My only direct report was management confidential is Jim.
Right.
And Jessica.
And my question is, to the
Jessica's-
two,
I'm
my
sorry.
question is the three of you is, do you want the board in this process? We have
Yes.
I think we have to be in this, the way, it sounds like the only way it would come up or it would get to us would be if it was Jim or Jessica
Mhm.
as unrepresented direct reports to Frank.
Those are your two direct reports?
Yep. Yeah, everyone else. Well, I have others, but they're all
Represented.
represented.
Or potentially someone who chose not to be in the union.
Yep.
Who was grieving some workload that you proposed directly.
Yep.
Okay, and if he had a grievance, it comes to us, or is it in your contract to go elsewhere?
I think it's in your, you have grievance procedures in your
Yeah.
contract.
Yep.
So it's in.
Where do they go?
You guys.
So this has it covered.
Yeah, okay, so I withdraw my.
Okay.
My comment.
No, but it's good though. I'm glad we walked through it.
Yeah.
okay, so I guess you can mark this final.
Okay.
Did we mark 100 final?
I did.
Thank you. And Jess will have to clean it up
All right. I'm going to write
and
that
find out
down.
about sending it to state civil service.
Yep.
And it's ready for board. So we can do that.
Yep.
Okay, great.
So are we good on 0110 as for full board 2 yet, or we haven't?
100?
Yep.
We didn't get to 110 yet.
Okay.
Okay, on 100.
So far we're good on 100 and 9140.
Good. I typed that wrong. Thank you.
Mhm.
So we're rescinding 100, right?
We're about to discuss that in 110. Because the reason we're rescinding certain things in 100 is because now they're covering them.
Yes,
But we haven't discussed that in the committee yet.
I understand.
But
That-
Assuming so, yes. That's not like
Assuming if we go to 110, 100 becomes obsolete.
100 are.
100 is the one that we just
Not
we started with.
right?
All right,
I know it's really.
Oh my God.
I had this with me
way too much.
or not. I think, like I said before,
He's a really good editor.
a lot of it is because, oops, we got way behind with like some of these are from 2012, 2008,
Okay.
but we're fixing that now.
So which one are we on next?
Now we'll go to 100. Let's just start
No, we
with
did
100, right?
110.
Yes, 110. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Somehow I got out. I'm getting back in. All right, so if you open the 100 folder, then there's the 110 folder.
What do you want to go?
Go into the draft folder.
Not this one.
Yes. No, yeah, you want to get to 110.
Yeah.
I mistakenly said 100.
That's me. That's him.
Oh, sorry.
So I'm in 110.2,
Yep.
110.1.
I want you to go,
Draft,
yeah, you want
Draft
to
policy
draft
110 intro.
110 intro.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, go to policies. Oh, go to 110. Look at this folder,
Alright.
put all the drafts, because it's a mess up. Okay.
I had no comments on this one.
Same.
I had nothing.
So just as a reminder, this is just an intro now because they're breaking 110. NISBA is breaking 110 into point one, which covers students, and then point two, which covers employees. So this is basically where our old policy was, and now it's just an intro to bring us to the point one. Point two. Everyone good with that?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So out of that, let's go into 110.1.
My first comment on this is at the bottom of page 2. I think we should delete for harm done to targets. And just have it say sexual harassment may subject the district to liability, period.
Totally comfortable with that. What do you do?
I don't like the language for harm done to targets, so I'm happy to get rid of that.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's too narrow.
Mhm.
Legally, it's too narrow. Either it needs to be expanded or just delete.
Like a period after liability.
Yeah, I do too.
Good.
Who's gonna update that?
I can do it right now.
Okay, I was like, I'll do it, but
Okay, I'm gonna keep scrolling. Page 4, I have some comments, so does Arjun. Mine again is just, it
I
says
think
that,
I had some comments, but it might be like.
okay. This is discussing how we have to train annually.
yeah, we have to.
And
So-
I just wanted to make sure you're comfortable, we have a procedure in place.
Yeah, we use
Process.
a system where everybody has to log on, they have to do it. We track completion, and then we have to also submit that we've done it. So yeah,
What happens when new people come in? That's
we
part
make
of
them do
the
it. We also
onboarding.
make all of our substitutes do it. Like, for example, our new intern principal, we also made him do cybersecurity today, because that's another mandate that you have to do now. And he's like, "Oh, I had to do more training now than I've ever had to do in my life." Yeah, so we do all of that. And everybody does it. So I do it too.
And does the system track, like notify people who?
Yeah, so Karen Conroy, so she's our director, well, it goes to an HR conversation, right? So Karen Conroy is our director of curriculum instruction, but she also oversees the PD of that component for all of our staff. So she takes on the HR component, so she tracks it and looks through it and does all that. She has a support. Diane Francis helped her do it.
I just had a quick question. Because there's training of students and it says age appropriate instructional materials will be incorporated into the curriculum, educate students. I'm assuming
It's due through health classes.
Through health
Yeah.
classes. So at the elementary school.
I don't,
that- or that-
they do,
this-
so in elementary school, it's personal space, it's different things like that they go through, and it's age appropriate, developmentally appropriate, and that's done through the guidance department, where they go in and they support, they go into each class and stuff. Also, Second Step has a sexual harassment component for grade 7. So that also then, and that has a layered component too. So it's all there from kindergarten all the way up. But grade 7 really digs in deeper to the sexual harassment component for kids when they're getting into those teenage years. So yep, we're doing a lot of that.
All right. My next comment was just, this policy or a simplified version will be posted in the comments place in each facility. I think we've decided for the most part, we're on the website.
Correct.
Yeah,
Which I'm funny.
Yep.
We just want to get it out of here then, right?
So
It will be posted on the district website.
I'm fine with that. This, I think, gives us the opportunity, the simplified version though, gives us the opportunity
Oh, right.
to come up with something that's more,
Which we could just leave that in there, right?
Yeah, I'm fine with deleting, will be posted in a prominent place in each district facility. Like, we're gonna delete that, right?
Mhm.
Just to keep,
But I like the rest of it.
You want to keep, well,
Will
put
be
that, it
posted.
will be posted.
Oopsies.
That seems, the next one seems a little bit much.
Yeah.
Okay.
It does say. Policy required. Okay. Not interested in that.
I did, right? No.
Okay. Whew, that was cranking. Okay, right, so I would mark this final.
Okay.
10.1,
Oh my
and
goodness.
then
Come
I
on.
think 110.1 has as an R, so let's go and draft 110.1 R.
Okay.
So NISBA just attempted to make this only for students and to pull out the stuff for employees for the most part. That's what. I just have one quick thing on page 3, if no one has anything to pull that. I don't see anybody. Number 10, just discuss in the definition of unacceptable conduct, unwelcome and offensive skits, assemblies, productions that are sexually suggestive, sexually degrading, or derogatory, or that imply sexual motive or intention.
That's a moving target, right?
Uh-huh.
Yes, that makes me a little nervous, and I was
I-
thinking of like Mamma Mia and
Well-
different plays.
So a play is
I don't know.
selected by.
So the building principal approves the plays in the end. So that's how that typically works. The advisors do it, and then the building principal gives their approval for it.
So I would say the key word there would be unwelcome.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
if you are concerned about what might be in the play, then you probably shouldn't come, but
What if you want to participate,
I think it's more of a participant.
but you're like,
Somebody's in it,
yeah.
who's not comfortable with the line or not comfortable with the choreography or something like that. But honestly, I think you want to be in this play. This is what the role
Yeah.
requires.
But I would think we're doing some vetting of this to make sure that,
Well, unwelcome is such a subjective.
But I'm trying to find my right words.
Good luck with that.
This is hard because let's say me, I may be offended by something that no one else would be offended by.
Right.
And that therefore would become, I could make a complaint on that. And I think that's something that we are going to have to address and go through. Is this statement already a part of our current policy? I don't know that answer. I think this is new.
I'm trying to understand where this would even happen.
I can tell you where it would happen. Let's say I did a play, and let's say I did play Tootsie, right?
Okay.
So we're all familiar with Tootsie?
And I've tried out, I've auditioned for a part.
Nope, you go to it.
Oh, I go to,
You have to go to it as a student.
right?
You're here for the preview,
Right.
and Tootsie's on, and I find it degrading that a man is dressing up as a woman, and I find that to be offensive. I could see that fitting into this. Like, I don't know if I'm wrong, but that's where I would,
You're thinking an audience member.
a forced audience member is where I'm thinking.
Because the kids do a preview.
But
Well,
if
everybody
but an
does.
actor in the play, you see that happening?
I don't think that.
They've auditioned for this
Correct.
part, they've rehearsed for
Yeah.
this part, they understand what they're getting themselves into, like volunteering for this role.
I have a hard time with this.
I don't like it. either.
I don't like it either because I'm looking at the one play we did during COVID,
Oh.
which I didn't know we were doing it, and I would have probably not approved it. It was definitely a little bit more risky than I would have approved, but it was COVID time, right? So it was a little bit different, but it was, It was the one
The
that,
one they did online.
yeah, it was not what I thought it was gonna be when I saw it. It was different.
I think this is also very complicated
Mhm.
too, just by the availability of plays.
Is there a way to change this to be, to keep the same idea of it?
Like, I don't know if we have to have, these are examples.
I don't think we should have this one.
It says, it is important for the district's regulation to include examples of sexual harassment that help students and staff recognize when sexual harassment is occurring. So these are some suggested things we put in here as examples, I think.
How about we say this, unwelcome offensive displays that are sexually suggestive,
We got that in the next one, basically.
Number 11.
What about, like, do kids ever have as an a class assignment to
Oh, true.
develop a skit addressing like a set of historical facts or like, what if somebody's like character day
right?
crossed the line?
Right, I think
Yeah.
like the school play.
And then we would
right?
address it.
Like,
Yeah. I think this might be one that we either take out or we understand has multiple levels of gray area and understanding of it when it's being investigated.
So what's another word?
But I mean, what sexual stereotypes? I mean, there's so many different types of things there that you could. This is being, I see it as being a positive thing. I definitely see the need for something or the understanding of it, but all I can think of is it goes to the very worst degree when I,
The preface for this says school-related conduct that the district considers unacceptable, and which may constitute sexual harassment, includes but not limited to. We go down and we get to that. Okay, and we wouldn't approve that.
We would never.
Unwelcome, right?
right,
But,
in our eyes.
well, yeah,
That's the
all right,
trouble with the word
but
unwelcome.
we, no, a school board would not want to have people feel
True.
that they're not welcome here, that this is unwelcome and offensive skit or something like that, or play. We wouldn't want them to feel that way, so there has to be, but don't we have a little trust in the vetting process that gets us to, we're putting on a play that is appropriate for public consumption, both at the children's level, the student level, as well as the adult.
right. Someone could say Greece is, I mean,
You could do it with almost anything.
I mean,
Oh,
Greece,
yeah.
Greece has, it's, yeah,
That's why I say it's a moving target.
yeah, because I mean, Greece is all about some of these things.
Do we cover it in for unwelcome communication that is sexually suggestive, degrading, derogatory?
Yes.
I think so. I think, right. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that the intent of 10 is a little different than 4, but I think if we had a situation where something really went awry and
Yeah. I just changed it. I got rid of it.
we could address it.
Agreed.
So what are you doing?
I got rid of it.
Because it's,
Take it.
It's already in it.
Jackie's a little snowflake.
oh, I wouldn't say that, but. Okay, let's go down to page 5, and Margie had some comments.
Yeah, so we're a little wishy-washy here on mandatory reporting.
Okay.
And granted, this is a student one, but any person who witnesses or is aware of sexual harassment of a student is also encouraged to report the incident of behavior to the district. I think we should add in what we put in the 115 bullying harassment, which is this section here that I pasted. Staff who observe or learn an incident of bullying are required.
I have no problem with that.
I mean, I think it's just
a cross reference.
just to say it.
Yeah, I
right?
mean,
Like,
let me ask
if
anyone in
there's
this,
any
yeah.
confusion,
Yeah.
you have to report it or ask.
Well, here's my question. We're parents or have had kids in school. If a staff member witnessed our child being sexually harassed, you would want that staff member to tell somebody,
To
right?
be required to.
Exactly. It's not, you wouldn't want them encouraged. You would demand of it. So I'm totally fine with that.
I think we need to just tweak it to address sexual harassment.
Well, let's make sure there are certain people who are mandatory reporters. We can't require everybody to report.
Correct,
No, but if
That's
somebody,
why the sentence that says encouraged, I think is necessary.
because that says any
We
person.
want you to
oh,
have. to
any
do that,
person,
But certain people, you got to.
Yeah, agreed, right.
I think the staff though, I think any person who will witness it should do that or encourage report. Staff who observe or learn of the incident
Right.
are required to.
Mhm.
I think you should put the two delineations in there.
Okay, so I'm gonna,
I put it right before any person.
Yeah.
That same sentence that you just had there.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of sets forth, hey, we'll start with mandatory. report.
Yeah.
And then anyone else.
Yeah.
You're.
Right. And we always, I mean, the things we do, when in doubt, report. That's the kind of rule that we have.
I'm gonna paste it. and clean it up. Students who believe they've been a target are encouraged to report as soon as possible after the incident. Staff who observe or learn of incidents of sexual harassment. Are required in accordance with state law to make a verbal report to the building principal or dignity act coordinator within 1 school day until all the DAS complete form within 2 school days. Staff who are unsure of the reporting procedure are expected to ask their supervisors if they fail to report into an incident, whether or not to turn the complaints. Any person who witnesses is also encouraged to report.
Because sexual harassment is part of DASA. So.
Yeah.
Makes complete sense.
Okay,
If you got it.
but all right, let me clean up the phone.
Okay,
Good catch.
I'll keep scrolling as you please. Tim, you made a comment on this one.
In the right one? Oh, gosh. All right, so there's a sentence here that says, if the complainant still requests confidentiality after giving the notice above, the investigator shall take all reasonable steps to investigate, respond to the complaint, as long as doing so does not preclude the district from responding effectively to the harassment and preventing the harassment of others. I didn't know what that meant.
So maybe I'm wrong, and RJ, you can clarify it. I've dealt with police cases before where they won't allow you to file charges or do anything without a witness, without someone giving a witness statement. And I've had it before where they won't let it be anonymous because the person might have to testify in court.
Mhm.
So is that what it's regarding to, going in towards? That's kind of the only way that I could see
It
it.
sounded to me like it was like, if I make a complaint about her, I'm now harassing her. Yeah, I
I
didn't,
can feel that way, I think. So here's how I read it. The complainant says, I don't want my name to be used,
Mhm.
right? You have to give this notice or this instruction
Mhm.
and then ask them if they're okay with you sharing, their information as needed,
Right.
right? If the complainant still requests confidentiality, then the investigator has to try and investigate and respond to the complaint. As long as doing so doesn't preclude the district from responding effectively to the harassment and preventing harassment of others.
So this says we
So-
can't guarantee
that also
confidentiality.
makes no sense to me.
I mean,
So-
basically, we can't guarantee confidentiality is what it's saying, correct?
If we can break
Like, if
that
we
out,
can't- If we can't deal with the harassment correctly, in order to do so, it would have to be, we
Yeah.
break confidentiality, then we would have to break confidentiality.
If in order to respond effectively to the harassment, it's necessary to, in some context, disclose this person's identity, then we have to do it.
I will be honest, I have done that before when it's come to serious sexual harassment or sexual abuse. When it regards to students, when they came with confidential, but then it became a legal issue or a law issue, I had to not have it be confidential any longer because of the seriousness of it.
The way I interpret it is, this person wants it to be confidential. But if we maintain that confidentiality, at some point, we're harassing somebody else because you're making an accusation that could be false, but you're not willing to put your name on that accusation.
I don't read it that way.
No, neither do I.
No, I think what it's saying is there may come a point where even though we want to protect your confidentiality, we can't respond effectively as a district and prevent you or other people from continuing to be harassed
Yep.
if we do not reveal your identity.
I had scenarios that I could share. I just don't feel comfortable sharing them with the public video aspect, even though I wouldn't use any names or
Just
anything.
say it.
Yeah.
That wording.
We could
doesn't say
fix
what
that
you
better.
just said.
Yeah, let me think of how to rewrite it.
I agree, Tim. The wording is bad.
You were just confused.
The investigator will take all reasonable steps to investigate and respond to the
I
complaint.
see what you're saying though, Tim.
Something like, comma, however, there may be circumstances where the district is required to,
Do we have to say that at all?
You have to say that you can't always keep confidentiality.
I think. I mean, you could have
Can
mandatory
you-
reporter situation, like your mandatory reporters
Right.
can't always.
Can you put it, let me just talk this one through. So you go through it, it says complaint consistent with the request, period. However,
Right.
it's a transition. However, there may come a time, or there may be a time when we can't guarantee if circumstances might arise where confidentiality cannot be maintained. I don't know how exactly to say it, but and they can
In order to successfully,
complete the
Investigate.
investigation.
right. But I do see, but I look at the preventing the harassment of others. I kind of see what you're saying though about, if I don't know what it is,
So it's a false claim,
right,
and I'm not willing to put my name on it. I'm just trying to take you down.
usually
Believe
though,
me, that's happened.
usually though, those are during the investigation, you can usually weed those out, usually.
There may be circumstances in which confidentiality cannot be
Hold
maintained
on, I'm
Got it.
fixing it.
during
I'm redoing it.
during the course of the investigation or something like that. Or to successfully complete the investigation.
The district from responding effectively to the harassment and preventing the harassment of others. How's that?
So.
And I'm happy to put like a for example in circumstances, because there may be others.
Mhm.
That's good.
Does it, the phraseology at the end, and preventing the harassment of others. I get what you're saying. I don't know if it's necessary. It kind of adds to the confusion. You just put a period after harassment.
Yep, that's a good.
That works.
Nice.
I think you got it.
You're being,
That just kind of says, look, there's going to be a point in time when you're gonna have to put your name on it.
Okay, if we scroll down just a little bit longer, or do you have a good catch here?
Supposed to be consistent, right? We got 3 school days and we got 2 working days. What do we want?
We
So
talked long and hard about this.
we
school
did,
days.
we did, and it was a compromise.
Right, are we allowed to do that here?
Yeah, it's not spelled out. in the
Okay.
law, I don't think,
Yeah.
right?
I think we're fine with
Are
3.
you putting those 3 school days?
I am.
I am too.
Yeah, and Azim says, however, your attorney may advise beginning investigations at a different time frame.
So,
Go.
okay, and continue to scroll, and oh my goodness, oh, one more, at the bottom. Oh, yeah. There's another catch there. Make things consistent, did I say? Page 12.
Oh, yeah, I don't think we have anything called student conduct and discipline policy, right?
No, it's student code of
We
conduct.
just say code of conduct or handbook in other places, but yeah. All right. And that's ready.
Yeah, I actually already did while we were talking, but I'm gonna put it, so that's final 0110.1 and 0110.1 dash R, right?
Okay, now let's all move to 110.2 draft in the same folder. And this is sexual harassment also, but for employees now. So we just finished 0.1 with the students, and now 0.2 is for employees.
So I got two of them here. One says with RG is commented on. Got two.
Yep, so this is the E, which we'll get to the next. So
This one here?
Yep.
Okay, there we go.
Now, these crossouts that you see here from NISBA are because they already thought we had a 110.2, but we don't yet. They're updating their 110.2 from the previous 110.2.
That's funny.
Just so people know. So they were just taking the state, the model policy the states developed and kind of made it more relevant to school districts. So I think all of that kind of, if everyone, we can just go for comments, but again, this is something Jess can clean up for us.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's sex crimes. This is a 20-pager. And NISBA suggested in their intro, I don't know why, but the 110.2 includes the right information instead of having the 110.2R.
It does, yeah.
Yep.
It-
But just so people know, I'm not sure why they did that approach, but that's what we have.
So this will be both the policy and regulation?
Yeah, it's all in one.
All right.
So on page 3, I think we have Rudy's first comment.
I agree with you.
Maybe you have to. Yeah.
That's a good word. That's in mind.
Me too. Yep, mhm. Page 4.
Okay,
When you
yeah.
get there.
This one's what?
Uh,
Disciplinary, subject to disciplinary or administrative action.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think we kind of discussed this, but it says this policy must be provided to all employees in person and digitally. And will be posted prominently in our work book and set the up to clean it up to be clean.
Is there an employee handbook?
There is not, we talked about that before. Where we said it muddies the water a little bit. And get
Because you have a contract,
well, that, and there was so many different things with it. We talked.
it's just keeping it up to date.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't, management supervisor required to report any complaint that they receive or any harassment they observe or become aware of to the Title IX officer. I mean, because that's what they're there for. Sorry. Oh my gosh. I got it. We're just, oh my goodness, it's been a long day.
So in my little section, I think we want to say post it on the website.
Mhm.
Nice.
I think this needs to be posted in faculty rooms.
Yeah, I think
All right.
this might be a state,
Yeah.
thing.
I think this is one that we might already have up in faculty
Oh,
rooms.
okay.
I feel like we already do some of
So when
those.
it's updated like this, somebody knows to
Right.
print off the new
Well,
one and put
they
it on the
know,
wall.
but
Maybe
you see-
put that on your
put
list.
on my policy to-do list.
Fine, good.
Okay. Page 6, I agree. On page 8.
You wanted to delete preferred, and I just asked the question.
So
Caught you there.
I am not an expert on this, but from trainings that I have attended on this subject, asking someone what their preferred pronouns is can be viewed as derogatory,
Mhm.
implying that it's a
Choice.
as opposed to what they are.
That's actually a really good catch. Super.
That is good.
Well,
My pronouns are, or identify my
Right.
pronouns
Yeah,
as.
prefer.
Right.
It's not-
I prefer you to do this, but it's okay if you don't. It's not.
For you, okay, then?
well, look at what the list is about. Hostile actions taken against individuals because of this,
Well,
such as intentional misuse of an individual's preferred pronoun.
if I prefer they, them, and you keep on saying, well, he's over there and he's over there. I'm like, no, hold on. I find that derogatory. You need to stop. I don't like that. I identify as they, them.
But that's what I think this is saying.
Right.
It is.
So we just got to get rid of preferred though.
Why?
Yeah,
I don't get it. I mean,
because it implies that it's a choice.
Mhm.
Yeah. If you were to go to training at like the Pride Center or have them come,
If I've stated to you, my preference is to be called them or
Mhm.
she,
That's your pronoun.
It's a pronoun.
right.
so you're just saying it's not my preferred pronoun?
It's not a choice for someone whether to use
Yeah.
it or not. You've identified it
I
as your
identify,
pronoun.
okay,
Yeah.
it's internalized,
And
it's
we
not
now-
preferred.
And we
Yeah.
now are gonna use it.
Yeah.
All right, all right.
Intentionally.
It's not a choice.
I
Don't
get
use
you.
it, that can be
Yeah.
offensive.
I get it.
No, you're totally right.
Down to page 10, I totally agree, RG, to get rid of at home and talk not in school grounds. Is everybody comfortable
Mhm.
with that?
Yeah.
Good catch.
So this is what this, so you say this is a regulation, policy and regulation,
Mhm.
because once I start getting
Yeah,
to
you
this, I'm
did.
going,
I'm like, yes,
well, yeah, I mean, we're really getting into the
Yes.
weeds now, yeah.
I'm not sure why they did it that way.
Turn out, right.
Yeah, I agree with getting rid of turnout too.
I have thoughts on
Why they combine them?
why this, why there was so much focus on these policies.
Why what? Say it again?
Why there was so much attention on these policies.
Well, this kind of was why I said what I said earlier about the length and breadth of these policies. My gosh, I mean, who's gonna read all this stuff? I mean, I think we've given so much fodder for the potential for someone to find, well, you didn't do this. You screwed up. And I mean, I know that
I
I'm
mean,
dreaming to think that we could condense this to something that's more reasonable, but this is a lot.
It's a,
It is a lot.
it is a lot. But at the same time, like, God forbid, you're on notice,
I understand.
right?
I understand.
Yeah.
I do think that they took it to the nth degree. And then when you combine I actually think it's probably not a bad technique. Not going back there now, but to have the policy and the regulations in the same document. So you can see, here's the what, and here's what happens if, as consequences, if you go outside the boundaries. But that's not the way these are set up typically.
No,
They are
no.
separated, and I don't want to go back.
No, I don't. Fine. All right, we're gonna accept your comment.
Yeah, all it was is announce it.
Okay, I'm scrolling, I'm on 15, I'm on 16.
I added Title IX officer /
Oh, thank you. 18, oh. I'm 19,
Coerced.
force.
So, yeah, I mean, there's like coercion's one type of crime, but forced sexual act is most definitely a crime. Yeah. So I didn't want to like leave someone with a misimpression that like coercion is all that we consider criminal.
Oh, you added that.
I added
Yeah.
Oh,
force.
okay, I got it now. All right.
I didn't realize force wasn't in there.
No, I didn't either.
I mean, we could say forcible. I think that's the word that the
Yeah.
law uses, forcible. Let me find that.
I'm taking out my future comment because we already discussed it. How to make sure everyone gets trained.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll turn it to force again. The proxy.
Please, no. Please to the end.
What?
You guys worked so hard so we can get through these today. Thank you, everyone.
And I think our mindset changed a little bit, like, we pay NISBA to do these policies. We should use those as like, you know, the basis to do it instead of looking at what we did
Especially when
before.
it gets so far out of date.
2003 on some of these.
I understand how it happens. I mean, it's very hard to keep.
My gosh.
Okay, so that could be my final, and Jess will have our hands full clean that one.
Right.
Okay, so what we have left is 110.2E. And this is really messy, but let's just look at content.
So on this one, on the first page, I added in good faith,
I like that.
because we do in other places talk about, well, we do talk specifically about false complaints, but also like complaints that are not.
It's an acknowledgement that, you know,
Mhm.
we gotta have some protections there as well.
Right.
It's gotta be done right.
Right, so if someone is intentionally filing a false complaint, like,
Mhm.
and
There might be retaliation.
there might be retaliation, not that it would be lawful. Well,
Well, it's not retaliated
it's
against,
not
but
retaliation, but it's,
could face disciplinary consequences.
right, because you can only be retaliated against for activity that's protected. Filing a complaint not in good faith is not a protected activity. So
I like the addition. I think it's just kind of a little, make sure you're certain about this. You know, this has got to be something where there will be consequences for the people that are involved in this complaint. So please make sure this is something that you really want to do. You're certain that this is something you want to do, and it's in good faith.
yeah, no, I think it could require more expound, but I think we do it in other places.
Mhm.
In terms of like the policy where we talk specifically about retaliation, I think we cover it, and maybe that needs to be a cross-reference.
Well, I've just taken a management perspective to say, you know, there are times when people want to file a complaint because they're pissed off, and there are times when they want to file a complaint because there's really something they've heard. And it just causes them that moment, say, is this something I really want to go forward with? And it really did happen. I filed this in good faith because I'm certain of it. I want to make sure that this is understood that there was harassment that took place, which we should know all about and should be filed.
Yeah, no, I'm just wondering, like, on second thought, if you even need to add it, because if it's not in good faith, then it's not a protected activity, and retaliation wouldn't come into play. It might be something else.
Then therefore I definitely want to work again. If that, there are consequences, if not, but we don't want people to feel as if they're going to be in retaliation at all. But it also is incumbent upon you, when you file this complaint, you're starting a process that is going to have consequences. And it's important that you are certain that you want to file this complaint.
So I think,
So, can-
retaliate is the wrong word.
Yeah, but can I throw a caveat, like a
Mhm.
iron in the fire on this one? Let's say I find it to be, there's a complaint that I see is like really wrong, and this is wrong, this is it. And it comes back and you investigate it, and it was against Trisha, and it, you know, and I find that Trisha did not do quid pro quo with me, right? I thought she did. You found that she didn't, and it was an unfounded thing. I still filed, you know, she might say I didn't file it in good faith. She would say that maybe, oh, that wasn't good. Whose decision is it of what's good faith or not? That's going to be my question. How do you say, oh, she did it because Frank did it because he was mad at her, or he didn't? Like, I think that
I'm really not, my
I just-
sense is
yeah.
not quid pro quo. My sense is just to say, make sure in your mind that you want to go forward with this. And you have a level of confidence, certainty, rather than, I'm just going to.
I know what you're saying.
In the row.
I could see it, somebody coming back as an
I
attorney
can live
fighting
without
it.
it, but
Yeah.
I do think that.
I could just see somebody fighting it.
Well, I mean, there's different outcomes.
Yeah.
And there might not be a finding, that doesn't mean,
It didn't happen.
I'm not making a false accusation.
Right, well, that's what
Right.
that's my concern.
It's just, I felt something happened, the investigation.
Right.
I think it was at the level I felt, but I'm not like lying or making.
Right, and
up
that's my concern, is saying like, well, then in my mind, it was in good faith, right? I did it in good faith, even though someone might not see it that way.
Okay.
Right.
That's my
What
only
we're
concern.
really trying to say in this sentence.
Is
there
think
won't be
before you
any
file.
retaliation,
Right.
Period.
Right.
And if we add that, it confuses that sentence a little bit, so.
So here,
Yeah,
paragraph 3,
I'm just thinking like, what would the attorney say? The school attorney?
so look at, final policy 110.2 on page 3, paragraph 3. Retaliation is prohibited. Any employee covered individual that reports an incident, provides info, is otherwise assists, blah, 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 is protected from retaliation. No one should fear reporting sexual harassment if they believe it has occurred.
Yeah.
So long as a person reasonably believes that they have witnessed or experienced such behavior, they are protected from retaliation.
That's.
So it's already in there.
Hey, there it
That's
is.
in good faith,
That's
right?
the
Yeah.
So,
definition.
Okay,
but this spells it out much more
It does.
clearly.
I don't know if you need to say it,
Okay.
because we're raising.
we already put it in the other
In
one,
the-
right? So I
It's
mean,
in the policy, this is just the exhibit,
Yeah.
the form for someone to. Well, we could put the same language right here onto the form if people prefer that.
Really, in this sentence, all we're doing is saying there won't be any retaliation. But in the policy, apparently we are saying, but
We spell it out.
You spell it out.
if you've made a false claim,
We say,
there may be
we
consequences.
say if you really believe this happened, then you can't be retaliated.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And that's good faith.
Yeah, we can leave it. So I would, in the beginning of this sentence, if you believe that you've been subjected to sexual harassment, you're encouraged to complete this form. I would change it to, if you believe that you have been subjected to or witnessed sexual harassment, you're encouraged to complete this form.
Mhm. You good with that? Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so we're gonna leave in good faith as a shortened version of what we have in the policy.
I'm good with that.
I'm fine. I was just pointing out. I see all sides. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate a little bit.
And then the stuff on this form in general, I don't know if you had a chance to look at it. but
I did.
Capture what you
It-
think.
yeah, I thought it was fine.
I see a lot, you know?
It's very similar to the ones that just
Yeah,
is, yeah, it's just taking some of it off.
Why did they take off all of that directory?
I think to, so that people provide just the information that is relevant.
Are they worried that that is somehow going to be
Disclosed.
exposed? Of?
It limits the personal identificational, information.
Okay, down on page 3. I get your point, Richie.
Yeah, I think it's broader.
Because this covers more than just our employees.
Right, and the policy covers covered individuals, which could be contractors.
Right, everybody.
All of whom I think could use this form.
Mhm.
So I would.
In both
I'll
cases.
fix it, yeah, that's it.
Holy smokes. That's it.
What?
That's fine.
Holy smokes.
All right, so with that said, this means we will be,
Okay, before you speak, hold on 1 minute, because I want to get to the document, make sure that I'm doing this right. Can I read what I have
sure,
and then we go backwards that way? Because,
I'll check it off.
yeah, let's see if I actually let's actually see if I got it right.
Okay.
Okay, that's been changed. Okay, so for November 6th, I have 0100's final.
Yeah.
Jessica cleans up, takes up the NISBA items
Mhm.
and put on the agenda. She'll also rescind 0100-R and 0100-E.
Correct.
Okay. For November 6th, policy 91, 40.1 and R, this policy and regulation shall be filed with the district clerk and state. I said, like, I said, is this done? Let's do it again with revision, clean up and put on agenda. And then again for November 6th. Clean up all 0110 intro, final 011.1, 0110 all of those. Font needs fixing. When finalized 0110.2, have this posted in the faculty room or union areas. So I shared this policy to do document with all of you and Jessica as well. And then when it's done, I'm just going to delete it. So then it just goes to the next time. So we're not,
Okay.
it won't be a running tally. It'll just be what was done and what wasn't done.
Okay, and do you want the list of what we're rescinding?
Yes, please. Now, is this the same one that I sent her, that you sent me the other day?
Yeah,
I gave that to her already.
okay.
So so that should
So
already
you're-
be on the document
okay.
because I took what you sent me yesterday.
Yeah.
You did a lot of work over the past 2 days, by the way. It was unbelievable. I was like, I felt bad this morning, like last night, because I just couldn't get to the emails.
it's
I was like, oh
fine.
my gosh, I feel so bad. You're doing all this work.
Well, I went to do the agenda and I realized I didn't really
Yeah.
understand it. So I thought I did and then I didn't.
So I sent her everything that you sent in that email to me already and said that's for this agenda. So this will now be additional.
Okay.
Awesome job.
So just for us, let's see. Yeah, okay. We're rescinding 100.
It's a lot of policy work.
And do we have to rescind 110.1E? Do we have a one?
Yes, yes, we do.
Right.
Rescind 110.1E because now we're using 115E.
All right. So rescind.
I don't know if I cleared this up.
110R.
110.
Oh, right, and also rescind 110R and 110E. And 110. We didn't.
Rescind 100R.
I did 100R and 100E.
Point one, because we never say that. 110RE. 110E.
And 100R.
Yes.
Yeah, got that already for the rescinding. So added 2 new rescinds, 110R, 110E. Already rescinding 100R and 100E.
And from last meeting, you're all set with that. We had to rescind the Bader thing.
Yep.
You got
We officially have to rescind things.
Yeah.
We can't just pass something new and say this hereby supersedes previously these ones.
Isn't that the same as rescinding?
But, well,
Yeah.
it is, it's rescinded, but going through all of this action to rescind, I don't know, a supersede seems like a cleaner way to do it, but,
I don't know that answer. I've always done rescinding, but it could be done a different way. I can ask Jessica. See if she can.
So this would be really exciting.
I know it's gonna happen
It's
someday.
gonna take forever.
AI is gonna take care of all this.
I used AI today on something. It was fantastic.
You're gonna go in there.
The thing I sent you
We
today,
need a
I used AI to
policy
make it.
that does the following.
I sent you something regarding budget.
Oh, okay, I didn't read it yet.
So I used AI today. I was like, well, I need to do this. And then it formatted it. I then went through, I added other documents to it. I was like, this is great.
Just a
Like,
matter of time.
it was amazing. I was like, holy cow, this is good.
I'm doing a presentation to legislators at a tax conference later this month on AI and the future of tax administration.
Yeah, it's
It's everywhere.
so
I,
good.
I went to an investor meeting recently, and that was a real talk. You know, I mean, practically everyone in every profession is going, how's this going to impact
Yeah.
us? Law, you know, but the investors, you know, it's like, I'm a private investor. Hey, I would like to know what might be the best way for me to invest my $100,000 in something. Put in some parameters and boom, it gives you your financial plan.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
You
that'll
can go off camera.
Yeah. So yeah,
For this, for our policy committee, I think we've gotten through enough.
that was a ton today. Nice job, Tricia.
Any
Honestly,
allergic reaction. I'm gonna try to get to that next time.
It's up to.
I think we can wait until next time. We already have it. We already have one in place. We have 504s. We have all these other things. So I think at this point, we should just,
Since it is 5.
but let's make sure that we, since we're already at an hour and a half in.
Yeah, Is
I
everybody
think we
okay with
could, I
that?
think the one thing we could do is just, discuss the complaint with the board. And see if anyone has strong feelings one way or the other before we
Dive into it.
dive into it,
Mhm.
because, I mean, there are decisions that we've made in the past on how we're gonna handle like
Sure.
safe snacks and
Right.
all of that, like,
And we've changed that safe snack list lately to have it be less restrictive.
right,
So it can be more more inclusive for our socioeconomic levels,
right,
right? Because
which is a huge
that stuff was
concern.
really expensive.
Yeah.
So, but we still have peanut-free rooms and 504s, but again, 504s really cover the health plan of a child who has an allergic reaction.
I'm comfortable with, if you want to share that with the full board.
Yeah, do you want me to do that at the next
We
one?
can talk about it. I don't mind bringing it up during policy, or you can do it in.
Yeah.
However you prefer to do
I
it.
just have to
I can
remember.
introduce it, or you can.
Yeah, well, why don't I do that? So I'm gonna write myself a
This is
note.
the public meeting, but
Yeah, just go and make that.
yeah, have the board talk.
Right.
So
And
feedback
the
will happen
parent
at our
was a
public
full
meeting.
removal of allergies. I gotta look back at I have to look back at the parent complaint.
Our October policy meeting, because we put it on the agenda.
Yeah, I want to look back at the parent complaint and paraphrase it correctly at the
Sure,
meeting.
sure.
Yeah, I don't recall the advocating for removal, more just like.
I thought there was a,
allergens, like potentially allergen containing products distributed.
I gotta look at the parent complaint again, or parent concern. I don't think it was a complaint, concern.
Concern is a
Mhm.
better way
Yeah.
to describe it.
All right, I'll do that. I'll look at it and then I'll bring it up at policy, the policy component at the
Okay.
meeting.
And for future meetings, do you guys want me to just keep pushing through what we have on the list here, or we don't have to necessarily figure that out
Can I bring up
right
one
now? Yeah.
that I would like to actually look at, and it stems from something that Tim said
Is it on the
last
list or
year.
it's new?
It's new. We actually don't have it. I've been doing some research on it. It's the substitute policy for the district.
Okay.
Tim, you brought this up last year,
Mhm.
and I started doing some research on it over the summer and looking at some other places. Some places have policies, some places don't. But I kind of do want to like hash that out a little bit clearer and at least come to a consensus of what the district procedure is. Because, even then I'd like to make sure that, here's what we're doing. Here's what it looks like. Here's our forward facing document. So I have a couple drafts that I'm working on, if that's all right.
Of a
And I would-
policy or a procedure?
A policy. So I'm actually just looking at what other schools have already and just trying to go, because it's all over the board.
Yeah.
Everybody's a little bit different. So I'd like to kind of go through there and then I want to get the board's perspective on what do you want for this? Like, what would you want to see as a board?
And you'd like that on the December agenda?
Sure.
Everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
Anyone else want to prioritize anything on the list for our December agenda? We'll definitely try to do the allergens after we talk to the board.
I'd like to get back to, I think we spent some time talking about like the timeout rooms and.
That's the special education ones of 4100s.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought that was the 41s.
And then, if you have them all listed,
Mhm.
Patricia,
oh, yeah,
but the
timeout rooms
graduation
was
policies.
4321.12.
All the special education ones.
Yeah, like we did some work on those, but we didn't, I never even talked about them.
But I will, I'm gonna write myself a note. Talk to Karen Jones about. Would you mind reading those out loud for me, Tricia? Then I'll just read
One
them.
that definitely was 4321.12.
43.
12.
12. Yep.
I'm not sure if that's our policy or if that was a NISBA recommended one that we.
I thought we just did a lot of work on that one.
But just general 4321 is programs and services for students with disabilities. And that's on one of NISBA's quarterly,
Mhm.
fourth quarter 2023, they had an update. Oh, and also first quarter 2023, they had an update to the 4321.12, the timeout physical restraint.
That's what it was. We did one already, and I think then they re-updated it
They didn't
afterwards.
update it.
Okay.
And then there's yes, okay. Our Rebuild's 4321.12 is from 2003 and different from NISBA's. This is what happened,
Okay.
which includes timeout rooms and physical restraints. But NISBA's was different than ours, and you reached out to NISBA. I think we have a paragraph in our folder that explains.
Yep, I did.
That's
Yep,
what you probably remember.
I do. It's coming back slowly.
Yeah, I feel like you've done a lot of work.
I
on
did.
those, and then we never got back to them.
So let's get back to it. I'll go back and review it again.
Okay.
I have to apologize. I deal with so many different facets of the organization that it takes a little while to get back to them.
And Archie, what else were you mentioning? Graduation?
Yeah, the graduation ones, I feel like we
We
started
punted on
talking
it,
about
and we
those.
said-
Was it for special education or just graduation ones in general?
It was
Right.
graduation in general.
All right.
I think we made sure we were in compliance with
That's what it was.
that people could graduate here that didn't.
Yeah.
But I think we have, there's 4770, 4771, 4772, 4773. Okay.
That's a lot.
Are you okay with this?
Keep them coming.
Well, I think we know we have to do those because we didn't have a policy that's required.
4771.
4772 graduation ceremonies.
Right.
But we're in compliance, so we weren't
Right.
concerned about it as a board, but, and we also said we have until next graduation to get through these. Okay, we'll prioritize that. If things come up in between, then of course, let me know.
Perfect.
And I always try to ask the full board too, because I'm sure if they have things that we need to figure out, throw it on there.
Well, you just said, yeah, we're in compliance. I think, to me, that's kind of the litmus test. If we're
Right.
in compliance, I'm not gonna get too worried.
Worried.
Right.
Update it, yes, but maybe revise it, maybe review it. But, if we're not in compliance, obviously, that's what we gotta have. Do something
A
now.
little faster to priority,
Yeah.
yes, agreed.
Awesome.
Okay, so I think we're good.
All right.
Thank you everyone very much.
All right. Let me just, that was very productive. And